Chris, is there any reason that Jessica isn't wearing I don't know what that was, the blanket that she was wearing out there, because evidently it's cold here, but it's not cold. It's not really winter, but it often feels cold in here because in the humidity, we've got a lot of equipment that make it necessary for us to keep things a little cold. Is there a reason she can't wear that indoors?
I'm going to make a ruling. Go ahead, Jess. You can wear it.
Well, Jessica, are you routinely taking that off? Are you? I know you're often cold around here, but I did not know that you were toughing it out every day, playing in the cold elements without a blanket.
I'm okay right now. Yeah, it's back to warm outside, so I'm wearing sleeveless tops again. So it's a little bit of an adjustment when you go from outside to inside.
We had a good winter. It was good.
We did. It was a nice 3 weeks. I was wearing sweaters every day. Now it's summer again.
The blanket looks really comfortable. It's important for a blanket. It doesn't seem like a cheap blanket. It seems when I'm looking at you out there, I was jealous of what you had. I'm not cold. I'm not warm. You just seemed in a cocoon that seemed comfortable.
I can bring it in there. It's it's comforting to have a blanket on.
Okay, Chris, this is a bit of a fire drill today. You may have heard Greg Cody laughing in the background. We've gotten Super Bowl week off to a rough start. Billy Gill is out of commission. He has had to come back with stomach pain. He was fully functional to attend Billy Gill Day at Cartersville, Georgia over the weekend with his family. Super Bowl week starts. He's not available.
He had to push his flight back. He had to go to the doctor. It's legit.
Wait, this is a real thing. This isn't you making this up. He's actually sick.
He has a virus.
Jessica,
I'm going to text him. I didn't know. You mentioned it yesterday. I was like, okay, this is a setup for something.
Jessica, I don't know how I make this a ruling from on high, but all questions about is it a bit, isn't a bit, is it not a bit, off air. Never on air.
Please.
Off
Coming
air.
from you.
Off air, please. So I can't make the ruling. Oh, please. Okay, so that may explain why I have a leadership problem around here, where I'm trying to make a ruling and...
Yes, you explain why you have a leadership problem, as you are the leader.
Yeah, I am. I feel absolutely like the hot dog meme, pointing at each other.
This is a terrible start.
Hello, David.
I've got a dirty blanket to my left. It's gross.
Not my blanket.
Gross.
And now we're talking about leadership this early.
Well,
like it.
We've got Billy Gill's out. Mike Ryan was supposed to be here, but something requires his emergency presence in New Orleans. We have a lot of people who left for New Orleans, so David just did nothing personal, and I think he did it into his pen. I don't think we had, for all the equipment we're trying to keep cold around here, I don't think we had anyone here who could work on it.
It's true. I had to do it on a laptop into a random camera without a mute button, and the people in the control room were yelling, but you couldn't even be on the show. There were no cameras.
I'm looking forward to today's show. I don't want to do this in the shadow show, but in the regular show, I need to tell you guys about before the show when my dad asked me how to get a haircut.
That was supposed to be a private conversation.
We're not getting to that now, but that's just a little tease for the show.
Right.
How to get a haircut?
Well, just the yings and yangs of it.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. It's
Please talk into the mic.
I'm talking into a mic. The world's most giant microphone.
Bring it
here.
closer to your face. God.
Okay.
How are you still an amateur at 70?
I'm not an amateur. I'm a professional. The haircut thing is just the numbers thing, the fade thing. You start at a 2 and go to a 4. Like, how's that work?
You're 70 years old and you don't know how to get a haircut?
Well, I've just begun doing that. You got to keep in mind, my first haircut was my dad putting a cereal bowl over my head and cutting around it. Recently...
Is that true?
Yeah.
Up until 2 months ago, my dad would always just say, take a little off the ears. He never worked in the numbers of this is what I would like on the side.
Right.
And I had to teach him that. And
Talking to the microphone.
And now,
Sorry.
me? Oh, that was a good joke.
No.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use concussion. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You can't go on, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. Right girls, let her tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I see fat people.
Palinka on the trades though. Luka being fat, got him traded by Nico. Palinka calling up and tell him, see ya, bro. Go to Dallas, be the hero. Super suit like Frozone. What's up with all these motherfucking Lakers trying to seem competent? The whole damn legal hate them. Fuck them all in their drama. How many teammates now LeBron? I mean, it's too many options. Feels like every Hall of Famer but John Stockton. But what about Luka Doncic and Weight Watching? Sometimes he's gonna pop off and score 60. Certified MVP, there's no one else can score with him. Walking down the whole court, the Mavs got some fear in them. Walking in, smoking sick, can smell the beer on him. Say Lakers, you can get him young. You don't have many picks, so we'll take one. And Anthony Davis and Max Christie, get the Jazz involved, get call up Danny. So tell me why we're treating AD like a somewhat side. It's because Luka is playing like a GOAT, right? LeBron got a weird case, why is he around? Lakers gotta trade LeBron, make it right. Call him Riles, pop, 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 pop. Trade him for a Fox, pop, 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 pop. When we got the blocks, what you do with a dude who's always tired? Trade him for a pick that right now is a minor. Luka Doncic, 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 Luka Doncic.
Remind me, please, Chris Cody, at the end of the show to ask Juju what he thought of that. As someone who, who actually, I'm serious. Just remind me to ask him. I don't want to forget. Everybody, today I want to gather around and celebrate something I did not celebrate yesterday, which is Happy National Monday. Everyone knows how great it is to have picks day. Just picks, like getting picks. We're all about getting draft picks now. And if you only get one instead of 5, you have done it poorly, even though we don't know what any of those are. I want to, before we get rolling today and get into other subject matter, just take a little air out of the tires right now, right off the top. And from Greg Cody, David Sampson, and Jeremy, just get 30 seconds each on everything you've got on Luka. Get it out of your system, whatever it is you think wasn't said yesterday that needs to be said today, and then we will move on to other subjects.
At the same time?
Well, I'd be okay with that if you actually want to do it that way, or if you want to keep going after 30 seconds and someone wants to start exactly at the next 30 seconds. I just want to get it out of the room before we get started so we can get on and do a Greg Cody Tuesday and celebrate all things Greg Cody. We're hurting today, okay? Chris, can you tell me whether that person in the other room, who evidently has been working for us for a while, and when I saw him this morning, I'm like, who are you? Evidently, we've got a Gabe in the other room because we're down a lot of bodies. I did not know Gabe before today. Gabe, you're mic'd up. Go ahead, Gabe. Congratulations to all of the people. Okay, so who are you, Gabe? What is your story?
I am an editor.
Okay.
Good job, Gabe.
Thank you,
Way to
Gabe.
go, Gabe.
Excellent
Well
start. Thank you,
Gabe.
Thank you. Good work. One of the best debuts we've ever had around here. Thank you, Gabe. We'll check in with Gabe Cam a little bit later on. Greg Cody, give me your 30 seconds, please. We're going to get to your gala in a second because I can't believe we're in 21 years, and I can't believe that Chris Cody said to me that at the end of this year's 21st PFPI gala that you actually said, I think it's time to have a Hall of Fame.
A PFPI Hall of Fame, yeah. The laughter when I said that was ridiculous. Particularly Christopher's wife, my daughter-in-law, howled laughter as if I weren't serious.
It's because we all know the writing on the wall. Who should be the first entry into the Hall of Fame, Dad?
That's up to the voters. I'm the commissioner. I'm not lobbying for anybody.
David, are you familiar with the PFPI Gala? Do you know anything about it? Jeremy and Jess, were you guys tuned in on Sunday night when Greg Cody was this interested in showing everybody the insides of his house? Greg.
I know, but this.
Greg.
Greg, just sit in a comfortable posture, and then you won't have to adjust the microphone.
Greg,
the guy is whispering in my ear, distracting me.
He's just saying,
guy?
get closer to the microphone. Your son is telling you he's trying. He was waving commands to you in ways that were super distracting to me.
Exactly.
That you sound like you're far away from the microphone. You've been doing this for a long time. It's strange that
How
he
about
would.
now? Am I close enough to the
That
microphone?
sounds really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You sound like a
better.
smooth jazz
It's
NPR
better. It is.
I am.
If you
announcer.
Al Jarreau over here.
if you want to
Sounds
spend
way better than this.
yes.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, I'm going to eat the microphone for the rest
All
of
right,
the show.
David, give me your best 30 seconds, please, that haven't been said anywhere in the world on Luka.
It is impossible for me to believe that both LeBron James did not know, but most importantly, that Nico didn't shop this trade. I believe that there were teams who call on players. We did it every day. You're calling on players you think are untradeable, and you call on them, and either a deal can get done or not. You do not get one trading partner and make the best deal for your team. Period. So I don't believe him.
Well, all the other front offices have more or less corroborated that. You think they're all lying?
We corroborate anything. I mean, we're so
No, but the
I don't buy
the
it.
reporting has been done on this, and anonymous GMs everywhere have said we're shocked and can't believe we weren't offered a chance at the bidding. I don't think everyone's in collusion lying to us.
You have to understand that the GMs are trying to answer to their owners who call them up and say, "Are you telling me that we were not in on Luka?" And then the GMs say, "I had no idea." That's not the real world, because the owner would say to the GM, "You didn't call just during the course of your day?"
I understand your skepticism. Just curious, though. You think, just to be clear, that the truth is so hard to believe that everyone is in cahoots, in unison on lying about this?
Self-preservation is one of the great tactics of people in the sports world.
And you also think no one would have leaked it?
Did anyone leak this trade? That's why everyone is so
Well, no,
butthurt,
which is more
because
plausible
none of
if
the
only
insiders
3
had
people
it.
knew about it.
There is no trade where 3 people know about it. It's just not. It's not. There is no such thing as a deal like that in sports.
So we can stay here if you guys want to. I don't actually know when the audience will tire of this during Super Bowl week, as Stugotz has landed. Are we checking in with Stugotz? Because God Bless Football is about to take over the entirety of this week if we can get Billy out of the hospital to go do Billy things. Again, do we know if he got sick in Cartersville? Do we know his Billy Gill day? That was not, he wanted even fewer people there for Billy Gill Day. It was one of the most awkward things that I have seen. There is the picture of Stugotz landing on Radio Row. He will soon dominate and take over the entirety of the premises. But Chris, in the history of us doing things, I think this, while wildly on brand for Billy Gill, is one of the funnier things that has been done around here, where somebody went to celebrate a day in their name but wanted to do it even more quietly than they did it, so was disappointed, I gather, or I think, that 12 people showed up to a banquet hall somewhere in Cartersville as opposed to 3 or 4 people or just one person with a video camera. Billy was looking to make that awkward, correct?
It's like a weird juxtaposition. Like, the less people that know about it, the funnier it is, but the less people that get to partake in the funny. So
Fewer.
Thank you, David. But I'm just saying, it's just an awkward thing that Billy did, because if there's cameras there and we get content from it, then it's part of the show. But Billy was just like, no, I don't want anyone there. But luckily, we did have cameras.
Hold on
there.
just a second. David, you're new around here, all right? Was that fewer really necessary? Like, he's talking and I don't see your face, and he's stumbling toward a word and he needs support. He clearly is in need of some buttressing, and you get in there with fewer in a way that just distracts him and makes him worse at his job. Like, why would you do that?
Because I hope that's the last time he uses less incorrectly.
Yeah, it was instructive. I support David.
Thank you, Greg.
How about David talks less? How about that?
That's a perfect use of the word less.
Damn it. Let's go for the joke.
Talk fewer. How about David talk fewer?
But so what I was trying to say before Billy, David's got me rattled. We have video, Dan, of Billy Gilday. He didn't want our cameras there, but I sent Yeti Blanc from the Greg Cody Show.
Get it together, Chris.
We have coverage of this. Let's play the video now.
Back in 2019, one of the more fun days of my life was when came up with a harebrained idea about naming a day after somebody who was associated with one of the favorite podcasts. It's become an unhealthy obsession over the last 10 plus years, and up came Billy. So it was a fun day, and since then we've been able to communicate from time to time. And out of the blue, Billy has decided to come back with his family, and I thought there was something that we should do to mark the momentous occasion, what is the 6th anniversary.
Hold on, fade that down. I'm sorry to laugh during the middle of this. I'm laughing because someone just cued me to my headphones. 2 minutes left in this video.
Whereas the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz celebrates 20 years of content this year, while continuing to be one of the most downloaded podcasts each day. And whereas Billy Gill is recognized as the Guardian's fourth best NFL analyst in the country, if not the world. Whereas Billy is part of the creative genius behind the award-winning God Bless Football podcast, which, by the way, was just named best football podcast in the last 48 hours.
God bless football.
God bless football. In addition to being part of the FIU football and now baseball broadcasts, and whereas Billy
1 minute
Gill,
left.
a.k.a. Guillermo, came to
Stop.
Atlanta to cover the Super
Just
Bowl
stop.
after beating the
It's lovely. Lovely, funny, and 100% on brand for Billy.
This is Cartersville, Georgia, right? Do they have a Trevor Lawrence Day, or did Billy get a day before the star of their
Well,
hometown?
Billy certainly got it before the star of their town because he got it like 6 years ago. This is the anniversary. He's returning for the anniversary of this. Trevor Lawrence was barely a sparkle in Clemson's eye.
I think he won the national championship 6 years ago against Alabama, but that's fine, Dan.
Close enough.
Semantics.
This Friday, January the 31st of 2025, as Billy Gill and Family Day in the city of Cartersville. And I encourage all the citizens to celebrate and welcome them as they enjoy the many.
Wait a minute. Lewis just yelled 3 minutes at me. How did that get longer out of nowhere?
The best part of this video is what Billy is doing throughout it, which is just like absentmindedly looking out of the window and not knowing where he's supposed to be focusing his attention.
I will say that sinking deep into the awkward, and Greg Cody, I don't know, he may have learned this from Greg Cody. 21 years of the PFPI Gala is a beast.
We use the hard A.
Okay, sorry. The idea that Billy would be hearing his resume given to all, and he would have his hands in his pockets and be shuffling around looking at the floor a lot because his wife and daughter are there with him. He spent the weekend there. And I think in Billy's ear, this is going on too long. This needs to be, I'm fully embracing the awkward. I need the awkward to be 90 seconds instead of 1 minute and 20.
Whereas Billy,
This can't be still
the Gill
going on.
family are
This
proud
can't
owners of
be
dogs,
still
Izzy
happening.
and
This can't
Dopey.
be, you've got to fade that down.
Now, therefore, I'm Matthew.
Get that
Jason.
out of here. Get it. I cannot.
This is cute. What's the problem with this?
Nope, no problem. It's
just too
wonderful. No, it's wonderful. Well,
Yeti, just edit next time.
What's going on the other side of that drape? Because it seems like the room was cut in half. And
it's a
I just
great
wanna know what's
question.
going on the
It's
other
a
side of this
Peloton
room.
class.
It's weird. Plus, Billy's dressed like he's about to go duck hunting. I want to make clear that beautiful expert video is courtesy of the Greg Cody Show podcast. We actually sent a special correspondent to Cartersville, and on my latest podcast episode, we actually interview the throng of nearly a dozen fans was there, and we interviewed
Oh,
some of them.
really?
Yeah, and we interviewed some of them, yes.
While continuing to be one of the most downloaded podcasts
This
each
can't
day.
be. This just can't be still going.
It's real.
So you're trafficking off of. You're smart about this. Your
Thank you.
producers do good work. So
Yeah.
you are going to have the exclusive interviews with all parties involved on what Billy Gilday was at Cartersville, but it wasn't. Billy only attended the 6th, right? This is the 6th anniversary, sort of. It's not even the right week, I don't think, but sort of. But he didn't attend the 1st, did he, or did he? I don't remember. He did, right?
Yes, he was up there for the original Billy Gilday.
But not for any of the others.
Correct.
Okay. So what?
As one does, celebrate the 1st and 6th.
Do you want to tease anything from the episode of the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody?
Well, we get into the controversy of Of who? What?
That wasn't Samson. My dad looked at Samson like that was his correction.
Oh.
That's just Dan playing the hits.
Okay. We
Greg, hold on. You're on fire today, buddy.
Listen.
Hold on.
terrible.
You're on. Well, Greg is getting confounded. Look, I will tell you that as soon as the Shadow show ended, Greg Cody looked up, disoriented by the lights, and just said to me, "What happened?" Because he was still talking.
Right.
And he didn't realize that he doesn't know quite where he is. I don't know what's happened here this morning. Have you taken any medication?
No. Well, my normal array of pills in the morning. Yeah, they're kicking in now, though.
The reason I worry about your
Yes.
health is because I said the Greg Cody show featuring Greg Cody, and for many years you have corrected me. You didn't even hear it. You
Right.
just launched into,
Right.
saying podcast
That's
things,
true, yeah.
promotion. Because
I'm not used to you mentioning my podcast.
Took time to
This
visit
can't still
Cartersville
be
and
going
celebrated
on.
Billy Gill Day on January 31st of 2000.
all right, PFPI, the PFPI Gala, 21
Gala,
years.
Right. We've always pronounced it Gala, not Gala. It's just an annoyance to me when somebody mispronounces that.
It's the same as David Sampson with fewer. Like you just.
No, that's a grammatical thing.
Well, but you guys are just you're wandering around doing janitorial work on corrections. Like, well, you guys, I have been told in the past, because I have been guilty of this, if the person knows what you meant, to make the correction makes you an asshole. Like, that to assume that that's a teaching moment for someone, or that someone wants that teaching, I would have assumed I would want that correction. I would want to know that I had gotten something wrong so that I don't keep getting it wrong.
You're welcome.
But it's a personality type, and most people would say that's assholian behavior. If you know what they meant, you don't correct them.
No, because he makes his living with a microphone, and we're trying to uphold the standards of intelligence, not of babbling. No matter what is going on with the show, you don't want to mistake less than fewer.
You think the point of this show is to uphold the standards of intelligence?
I do, actually. I think that's why it's such a popular show, and I think that that's the beauty of the show, is that we are actually smart people.
We do that
who
good.
do this show.
Greg Cody, you're in agreement with this?
With what in particular?
To correct.
The words that were just
yeah,
spoken.
for sure.
The conversation.
For
You know
sure.
what? You know what, Greg? I'm gonna just kick you out for a second, allow you to gather yourself, because
I'm
you're
gathered.
you're
I'm
no,
fully
you're not. You're
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay of show.
you just don't know where you are. I don't know what's happening, but you haven't been prepared. I don't know if you're disoriented from a different seat, but you don't know what's going on. When you say what, it's what we were just talking about. Like, all you have to do is listen to the previous
Well, we were
couple of
talking about
sentences.
several things.
Okay.
And you're continuing to mispronounce the name of the PFPI Gala. I'm simply wanting to correct you.
I want to know all about the gala, but you need to leave for 2
Fine.
minutes.
Okay.
And thank you for being here
Bring
today.
in Gabe.
Gabe, come on in here. I'm told you have a beautiful voice. Gabe, come on in here. Good suggestion, Jessica. Thank you. Now we've got some real leadership around here. Now some things
Just
are
trying
happening.
to uphold the standard of intelligence.
Thank you. Gabe, come in here. No pressure. Gabe, just come on in here and uphold the standard of intelligence.
What does he think about Luca?
If Mike Fuentes sees that Gabe gets on a mic before he does, he's
Gabe,
going
sit down. Go ahead, Gabe. I've been told that Gabe has a wonderful voice. Gabe, you don't have to put that on. I just need your best 30 seconds on Luca and that trade, and then you can get out of here. Welcome to the company as an editor. Go ahead. I'm told you have a lovely voice.
I've been told by one person, really.
Okay, so you want to enunciate though. Okay,
enunciate?
you want to get in and broadcast
a
and
bad spot we're putting Gabe
yeah,
in.
terrible.
Taylor's loving this.
But yes, Taylor. Well, and hating it because Taylor wants so badly to be in that seat. So Gabe, give us your best 30 seconds on the Luka trade.
I think the Mavs choked on that trade. I don't think it was a good trade. I don't
Hell yeah.
understand the whole purpose of the trade. I don't want to hate on AD, but you just gave up a franchise player and gave it to the Lakers. I'm assuming for LeBron.
This guy's a natural, dude. Good job, Gabe.
Excellent work, Gabe. Excellent work, Gabe.
Literally the worst spot Dan could have put
yes,
you in.
fine.
and
Thank
you
you.
did
It was a good
fine.
take.
You did
Thank you,
fine.
Gabe.
Fine
Thank
take.
you for being on with us. A
I
terrible
appreciate
spot I put you in. Welcome to the company.
I want to see his armpits right now.
Yes. So good work by you, Gabe. You're a rising star.
It took me 4 years to get comfortable talking on a mic, and as you can tell how comfortable I am now. But good God, if you would have done that to me my first day here, I would have literally shit myself.
Look, we need to speed up the curve because, yes, you guys didn't speak for years around here. Yes, that is true. I remember Amin coming down, flying in for 3 years and trying not to say anything at the wrong time.
You thought he was a Clevelander waiter.
That is no longer the standard. The standard has been diminished by Gabe because we'll allow anybody to have a microphone around here.
We needed better from Greg. It's a short staff today. It's not a crowded room.
Well,
I thought you would have prepared Greg.
You know what? Help me. Do me a favor. Go into the penalty box. I need some leadership around here. Go into the penalty box, get mic'd up, and I would like you to give Greg the motivational speech to get him back in here and get him to be better because, like, he really is unusually disoriented today. Chris, even you who get very frustrated with your father, it's been weird how much he's trailing the show today, where he doesn't seem to know where he is exactly.
He came in very low energy. I've been giving him little pep talks in his ear when you're talking, like, come on, I need you today. And
in the meantime, David's out there. We should have Gabe back in to talk about the Spurs trade, I think.
Please don't. I feel I'm
Jessica, like, you have risen to straight evil. Like, that is, like, you have learned well.
Thank you.
You have learned so well about how it is to just beat up on somebody as soon
doing
as
the
they
Billy
arrive.
roll today. That is something Billy would do.
Just
more Gabe.
Stunning. Just flog poor Gabe. Gabe, do you realize that in the history of media, very few people are going to drive home from a work day and revisit, the things I could have said if I hadn't been put on the spot. Like, if I had unspooled in those 30 seconds something that had, like, mesmerized us, that would have made for instant stardom, just like Rose around here.
You mentioned that someone said he had a good voice. I thought you were going to have him sing. That would have been a better spot to put him in because he's more comfortable there. I assume when they say he has a good voice, they mean singing voice, or do they mean just his voice?
So just hold on. I just want to be clear on what your executive producer judgment is.
Oh, it would have been a lot funnier, Dan.
Oh, wait. Okay, but for Gabe, it may. You may be right, but are you also trying to flog Gabe here and trying to teach him the lesson early? Hey, show comes first. You singing poorly is funnier pressure to put on you.
And I also think he's more apt, if he knows how to sing, to just pull a song out of his ass than give a sports take when that's not really what he does.
So you think that we could have had an America's Got Talent moment where we go viral because all of a sudden what Gabe unleashes stuns the nation because he's such a songbird.
I'm being told the YouTube chat is going crazy for Gabe right now. The people demand their king.
Well, we will see. Somebody.
Let me see those armpits.
Somebody take care of Gabe right now. I feel so bad for Fuentes. Tell me when it is that I can go, please, to David Sampson in the other room with Greg Cody. Okay, David, thank you. Please, just give him a pep talk because we've got 3 more hours. It's a long week. And we need a lot of help from a lot of different people. We got sick people. We're understaffed. Please give the old man a pep talk so he comes in here and gives us 3 better hours than the one he's given us so far.
Greg, I want you to think back to when you were young and you didn't have open sores on your arm. And you were totally writing and talking as though you were a professional Hall of Famer to be. Sure. I want you to channel that and recognize that we need you. We need you at Meadowlark. Dan, your friend, your mentor, the one who has given you the very platform that you take advantage of every single day, to his detriment mostly. You need to come through for us in a way. The start was so bad that I would have benched you. Dan wants you to come back strong. Can you do it?
Jesus. Striking me. Literally, he's hitting me on the chin with a microphone. And this guy is supposed to be the professional? By the way, Samson, let me give you a quick tip. When you're giving someone a pep talk, you don't start a pep talk by referring to open sores on their arms when he doesn't have any open sores. You know, I'm having a bad arm life. Granted, that's why I've been wearing long shirts lately. But I am perfectly fine. I'm not disoriented. I'm an oriented person. I'm a professional at orienteering, which is a little-known sport. I am the opposite of disoriented, and all I need is an opportunity. I'm no Gabe, but I'll tell you what. You put me behind a mic again, you're going to get fire out of my mouth.
Yes!
He's back.
Yes!
Winning.
Good job, Samson.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, Brett.
All right, get in here, Samson. That's good work out of you. Good Lord. He hit him right in the face with the microphone, and he pissed him off, and those aren't open sores, and I'm not his mentor.
They're closed sores. Thank you.
That's exactly right. He's having a bad arm life, though.
He knows what he's doing with the Hall of Fame and the PFPI, right? Like, he's doing it. Like, when he said that, the way the family laughed at him, my brother's like, you want an award for the award show?
All right,
we already have a gala.
Let me explain this to Samson, who might not understand it. And please put the video up again, because I do enjoy going through Greg Cody's house, and you don't understand, okay, how strange Greg's brother is. Greg is very strange. Uncle Dick, though, Uncle Dick did not have an Erlene, did not have kids. So Uncle Dick is whatever Greg would have been if he'd been roaming the earth alone and then went to sleep at 3 o'clock just after having a TV dinner.
PM.
Just wouldn't know how to take care of himself in any way. Just wouldn't know. He's 70 years old, doesn't know how to get a haircut. When he leaves the house and he wants to know how cold it is, he blames his wife for not telling him before she left. Like, you understand that your father is a toddler, correct? And he's got this celebration that he has, and it is a family heirloom. It is a sports treasure. For 21 years in the family, be careful with that hand gesture. What are you doing? For 21 years in the family, in that room, right? In that room.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just 21 years in the modern era.
What do you mean?
Well, PFPI began in the late 60s. This was actually our 29th season overall, but our 21st continuing season.
When you and your brother were kids?
Yeah.
Fantasy football?
No.
Always picking them, and my dad claims to have all the records back then. So me and my brother are skeptical of the record keeping.
There's
in
no
the
record
60s.
keeping? There's no books?
There is record keeping.
Where is it?
It's
just a list of who won.
Okay, but from the 60s,
won?
Yeah.
that's somewhere? Where is it? In the garage?
It's in the archive, the PFPI archive.
Wait,
We're a
there's-
professionally run operation.
Wait a minute, there's an archive?
Yes,
In
of course.
Canton,
A
Dan.
Google Doc.
No, it's an archive, and we're professionally run. I take my job as commissioner very seriously, even though people love to mock me. It's a family tradition. It's been going on in the modern era since 2004, but overall since 1968, I believe. And so, I think after all of that history, after all of that heritage, we've had 10 members over the years. I think it's time to honor the pivotal members of PFPI in a newly formed PFPI Hall of Fame. Now, like baseball with its Hall of Fame vote, we need a 75% majority, meaning we need 6 of 8 current team members to vote yay. So will that happen? I don't know, but I'm proposing that. I'm also proposing a penalty for late picks every week.
It's just me and Michael.
Always.
Who are you proposing to exactly?
To the membership.
Six other people sitting in his living room.
To the 8 teams.
Who decides who the Hall of Fame nominees are?
Well, that's to be determined.
What
we
is,
don't know
what is
yet.
the Hall of Fame criteria, Greg? And also, I might add, you look dashing in that black button down with the black blazer.
Thank you. I didn't even know this was referred
He's
to as a
talking
blazer.
about.
No,
he's
I
talking
mean
about a
in the
video.
video.
That okay. Yeah, on the.
Oh,
I'm
my
the,
God.
I'm the
Oh,
only,
man, I'm
the only-
sorry, Dan.
All right, out
I
again.
thought I
you
had
know
him.
what? All right, that's okay. You know what?
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
Gonna have to try again.
I promise for the listeners out there, the house does not look as sad in person as it does in these videos.
That is true, actually.
Like, I'm telling
That's
you,
right.
when you're
Well,
in the
it
house, you
doesn't-
don't say, oh, this is a
Look,
sad room.
look,
But when I see this on video, it's
yes.
one of the saddest places
Well,
I've ever
because
seen.
walls the color of jaundice are part of the problem. Walls the color of jaundice, like of liver failure, like of the 80s.
It's a popular color for walls.
I'm not even saying it hasn't been repainted. I just assume that Greg isn't repainting. And so this is a home. Look, I will tell you that wandering through this home, there in the back somewhere, a Miss Pac-Man machine and a pool table, it's like walking through my childhood. But it also hasn't changed all that much. Greg Cody has lived as a comfortable man for as long as I've known him. And there he is, the center and star of his own show. The blazer we were asking you about, please be careful with that gesture. Get out of here.
What gesture?
Get out of here. Go 2 hours.
Why am I leaving?
Two days, because you delayed the game.
2 minutes.
You delayed the game.
Samson delayed the game.
No, it was you delaying the game because you don't know where we are in the show. He asked you about your blazer, and you looked at your shirt and said, I didn't know this was called a blazer.
Right. It was Jess who made that remark. She was complimenting my blazer. I thought she was looking at me right now. I thought this shirt.
Well, you look good now, too.
Thank you.
What decade was that rocking chair made in?
Oh, that's a family heirloom.
Oh, I feel like a jerk.
I had it it was your mother's grandmother's.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
What was her folksy name?
Oh my God, that's
Oh,
such.
man.
You will not.
You don't know her name?
Um,
You forgot mom's name?
no, I forgot Mom's grandmother's name. Her mother's name was Mary Alice, but I don't know her grandmother's name. I barely met the woman. I literally barely met her. I saw her like once or twice, and she passed away. Coincidental. I had nothing to do with it. And so, no, I don't know her name. If it was told me, I would go, oh, yeah. You know,
Multiple choice. I do this all the time. If it was a multiple choice question, I'd get it.
No, text your mother, ask what her grandmother's
I'll
name
ask for
was.
3 options.
Do you know that
Go ahead.
80% of the people cannot name all of their 8 great-grandparents? And so we are merely 3 generations away from being forgotten.
Yep, that's a good point.
I was just about to judge my dad. I don't know Nana and Pop's parents' names at all.
No, there you go.
Well,
You're in the 80%, Chris.
I know my mother's side of the family very well. I don't know. I never met my father's father. You know.
Yeah, my bad. I played that game wrong. I do know their names.
Okay.
It's your great-grandparents, Chris. That's the 80%, not your. Everybody can name
I know
their
my
grandparents.
great-grandparents' names.
All 8?
Yeah.
Wow. Good
I'm not going to tell you, but I know them.
I'm not going to take a quiz.
What, privacy?
Yes. I go over my ancestry with my grandma every time I see her, and she tells me all the family gossip, and a lot of it's not good.
Well,
That's great.
I will say that as much as we've made fun of this gala over the last 21 years, I have had conversations with Chris about like what's the stuff that you will end up remembering when it is that you talk to the old people about what the past was, and you do disrespect your father, Chris. You and your brother both do it by not taking this as seriously as he does. To him, he views it. The fact that he does this every year for hours, goes and gets dressed up. Your dad ain't getting dressed up for much of anybody these days. Goes out in the middle of the room and videotapes something so that you can have it forever, ridiculous though it is, as a snapshot for who he is. Your dad is trying to pass this down, and I'm not sure he has anything better to pass down. Like in sports, like in terms of things he cares about, quirky representations of his personality, right? Like if you could put it in a time capsule, hey, who was Grandpa? Who was he? Give me something better than this thing. And put it on the poll, Juju. What's better? What do you trust more, an archive or a Google Doc?
An archive, for sure.
I don't understand. I thought 2 minutes means you have to get out of the chair. Do you give him different treatment? Because there's a lot of
Thank
talk
you.
about
Good
Ratting on me.
leadership. You know what? Go on and get out of here.
Samson
He's right.
ratted me out
He
here.
is right.
Literally
Look,
ratted me
I
out of
want
the room.
everyone to see the snitch in plain sight so people can see what Samson does. Both
Rat.
you know.
He looks like a snitch. You look up snitch in the dictionary, you see Samson's picture.
Sneech, not snitch.
Listen, you did snitch. You are right. You upheld the accuracy of the penalties around here. Not a lot of people do it. I was complaining just before the show today. You weren't even there. I was complaining. I'm like, okay, so how many times do I have to tell somebody that they have to pay their grid of death penalties? Like this is going on 3 years, and I'm not doing this on behalf of me. The audience wishes to have its payoffs. Like, what are we doing every week with the bucket of death if someone doesn't have to come out here and be laughed at? And so I've made it this order several times now, and for years, and it's not an order. It's just it falls flat because nobody's actually in charge of it except that anarchist Billy Gill, who is sick with the stomach before he goes to the Super Bowl, but not too sick to go to Cartersville, Georgia.
You can be healthy when you're on your way to a place and then sick at the place. That's a possible outcome.
Is he like stuck in Cartersville, Georgia? Where is he at this moment, Chris Cody? Where's Billy?
Billy
I'm very
is.
concerned.
I know he's flying out. He pushed his flight. He's supposed to fly out this morning. He's like going to the doctor this morning and is getting medicine and is hoping to be on a
Look,
flight.
these
later.
are giant plans, okay? For those who do not understand how many people just left with Billy Gill to support Billy Gill on what God Bless Football is doing this week on behalf of one of the biggest American podcasts that there is at a pretty important time. Billy Gill has done an amazing job with God Bless Football. Billy Gill's reputation producing that pod with Stugotz beats the Kelseys, beats Shannon Sharp, beats Dominique, beats everybody. Best football podcast in America. This is Billy Gill blowing 2 tires right before the finish line on a season from hell for him, trying to chase Stugotz around, and then it ends with the punctuation of trying to chase him around this week when all he wants to do is hobnob.
There's nothing worse in my head than the bathroom at Radio Row. And Billy Gill is going to need it because this won't go away with antibiotics immediately. And I'm trying to imagine how the route would be back to his room, whether there's time for that, or does he have to do the Radio Row bathroom, in which case that's a deal breaker.
Completely different perspective for me because those bathrooms are always empty.
I'm going to assume he doesn't go to the ladies' room.
Of Billy Gill Day here in Cartersville. So I have a proclamation.
You kidding me?
Some presentation,
Are you kidding?
Whereas
Did he get sick during the ceremony? Did a viral strain run through the room from that nearby Peloton class on the other side of the curtain?
Will my dad get it together for this show? We got 3 more
all right,
hours.
Look, it was a good pep talk, and it looked to work, but at this point, you understand what happens here, right? There's a stamina issue at 70. He can give you a burst. He can be great for 3 or 4 seconds, but he doesn't have the stamina to bring it for a full show anymore. I'm not going to say he's washed, but he's not in his prime anymore. I defy – you got to be shitting me.
God bless football.
into it. By the end of the experience, you might find yourself spiritually enlightened through the magic of song and an occasional exposition to advance the story. Matter of fact, I'm feeling ways about football right now I could never dream prior to. I think I'm about to have a moment, my brother. Way down in the jungle deep, a lion bit a Viking on his motherfucking knee. It began in 1869, I see you, Mojo, with a match between the Princeton Tigers and the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Then in 1880, along came a man named Walter Camp, the father of American football, the Waltster, Wham, as they called him. He established the snap, the line of scrimmage, 11-player teams, and the concept of downs. The gladiator spectacle. Though the game has evolved over time, at the heart of it, the game of football is just a primal means to tell the age-old story of the triumph of the human spirit. Can you and your teammates overcome the brutal battery of physical and emotional trials over the course of a savagely cruel 18-week regular season, brother? And what be your reward for such a merciless gauntlet? A thrilling single elimination tournament that pushes the peak male form to high water marks year after year against the game's very best. All with the hope that you and your brothers in combat can rise above all others in one unified voice. Declare yourselves champion. That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and live for the Lombardi. If there's a way Stanford turns it all around, it would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What you say, Tom Brady, always down, could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip, holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs. Our goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs, the gridiron, win or go home, the ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game, Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer. I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the
Lucy Rodine is smirking, I'm going to say mischievously, and that smirk generally creates fear in me, but also wonder, because she is a content creator extraordinaire, and now she has to do some sort of challenge in order to see if she's part of our late rush army that we're throwing at the Super Bowl. We will get to her in just a second to find out whether she gets to, I don't know if she's ever been to New Orleans. I don't know if she has been to Radio Row and seen the Stugotz experience, but Lucy reporting on Stugotz would be fun content, just following him around in the wild. Yes, Lucy?
Dan, you were with me last year at Radio Row. We were there together.
Okay, I don't remember. I don't remember anything that
Our
happened
entire
last
show
year.
went,
all of us together.
Yeah,
we sang songs.
Yeah, I don't remember on Radio Row. I remember there.
We carpooled
downtown. Yes, I don't remember. Forgive me. I forgot that I went and talked to the Golics on Radio Row one day. I was there for 15 minutes. Yes.
We carpooled, and on the car ride over, you talked to me about had I been to Radio Row before.
Lucy seems like a great carpool buddy. Oh, yeah. Like if I was ever carpooling somewhere, I'd be like, Lucy, you're with me.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, put it on the poll. Does Lucy seem like a great carpool buddy? Let's go back into the other room, though, real quick, because I want to see what's happening with David Sampson trying to motivate Greg Cody to do better show. Sampson, what do you have?
I really have a problem right now, Dan, because I can't get Greg going. He told me just now that the whole break threw him off, that he's very concerned about his outfit, that he thought he was wearing a blazer. And what I've said to him very clearly is we've never needed him more than we do now, as witnessed by the length of all of the break and all of the people not here. So, Greg, one more time for you. Can you please get yourself together? Hold on. Can we do that again?
Okay, well, you did it very poorly. If the object was to hit him in the face, ridiculous. It's funnier if it makes a sound than if you just drop the microphone.
All right, I want to review the last 30 seconds to 1 minute of this show because Dan Le Batard, the man constantly calling me disoriented, just betrayed himself as not remembering that he was on Sad Radio Row slightly less than 1 year ago. That's the man calling me disoriented. Like I said before, I'm perfectly oriented. I've got nothing going on but love and best wishes for everybody. If I'm given a chance to speak into a mic for 5 minutes in a row without being interrupted and admonished.
But you have a button-down shirt on.
It's a beautiful button-down shirt that my wife bought me. I've taken to wearing shirts over T-shirts lately. I don't know whether that's a thing. I don't know whether that's proper, whether people do that.
What are you hiding?
I'm not hiding anything.
Sores.
The veins on his feet?
No, I don't have open sores anywhere on my body, by the way.
Okay, we'll come back to you in a moment. Thank you. That's $5.
And if I did, they're not sores. They're Jumpin' Charlie cuts.
All right, $5, please, for coughing into the microphone. Does his Venmo Fine Bucket account work? Because all of this is in play. The Venmo Fine Bucket, which is now going to be more vigorously enforced because of Lucy. And because of her refusal to pay a fine for killing somebody on the show and disrespecting the rules. Does Greg now have the Venmo account on his phone? Because he swore to us that his wife that Erlene was going to do that for him.
Yes, he's got it set up. I made payments for him. You know, we're still working on him doing it without anyone helping him, but it's on his phone and the payments have been made.
I will just say that some of this behavior around the fine bucket is self-destructive. Jessica, you were making, I'm going to say, hundreds of dollars there for a while when you had the contents of the fine bucket. No?
Not quite. It was more like 80 something, but it was still nice. I'm not complaining about
But I'm saying you got paid for the better part of 2 years every time you were getting fines all the time. Are you not counting those? It was just a total of $80?
It was not a lot of money, which leads me to believe maybe someone, again, pilfered from the fine bucket.
Yeah, we've got some problems, but now Venmo is now securing the entirety of the thing.
Venmo sponsors our bucket, and they also sponsor the Lucy Super Bowl Challenge presented by Venmo. So we got to figure out here, what is going to happen?
All right, so we've been teasing this here for weeks. Lucy, where are you on whether you're going to the Super Bowl or not? You have to fulfill this challenge. If you do not fulfill the challenge, Greg, do you remember what the challenge was?
I do. It was Lucy dressing up as a dinosaur and walking through a mall.
What kind of dinosaur?
I can't recall offhand.
It was your dinosaur. You brought it up.
I wasn't even here that day, and I remember what it is.
You brought it up out of nowhere. It was the whole funny reason for the bit.
An uprightosaurus. No, of course I know what it was. It was an iguanosaurus.
You are the worst, dude.
An iguanodon.
worst.
An
An iguanodon.
Didn't even get it
Already
right.
said it.
An iguanodon.
You
right.
understand the whole thing was born of that word being funny and coming out
Yeah,
of
it's a
nowhere.
funny word.
Okay.
Iguanodon.
So the
I
challenge.
could punch you right now.
Have you done this, Lucy? Are you going to do it? The challenge is you're going to dress as an iguanodon and walk through a mall?
Yes. So here's the thing. Here's the situation. I have had a great time on off-roading, potentially too great of a time. So I'm not permitted to make company purchases. So I was told that I would be getting an iguanodon thing in the mail. And I did. And I went online and I looked, and it was $900 for a costume. And I just thought, even that's a little intense. So this is what showed up. Is this really janky iguanodon t-shirt that I definitely didn't make myself. I would have never done that. I would have done a much better job. So that's how
Way
we
to
know I
go,
didn't
Lucy.
make it.
Lucy, I want to thank you because that's a very soft applause. I'd like to make it much stronger.
Thank you. Thank you. This is not a penalty to walk through a mall with a shirt that says iguanodon.
Lame.
Dan, I walked to get coffee this morning. Everyone was like, "Is that a band? What is on her shirt? Why is it not level? And why are the letters spaced out
How
weird?"
embarrassing,
It was
Lucy.
incredibly embarrassing.
No, I'm thankful to you, Lucy, because you did it right. When you see that 900, you cannot proceed. You cannot spend that kind of money on some
on,
ridiculous
man.
venture
No,
by
come
Cody.
on. It's
worth
You
it.
get the shirt for
Come on.
$9.99, and you get yourself to the Super Bowl
Samson,
Yes, Dan.
I got McAfee giving away $100,000 for field goal kicks. I got Jay Williams going into his own pocket going $100,000 for half-court shots. We can't afford $900 on a costume?
If I thought that the juice was worth the squeeze and that $900 would actually generate any sort of attention, then I would think
On
about
Radio
it.
Row or in a mall where she's a content creator. She's an influencer.
We are being sponsored and paid for Lucy to do a challenge that is just as good in the T-shirt as it is in the $999 costume.
That's ridiculous.
No way. Her in an iguanodon costume haunting Said Radio Row would be Super Bowl gold. You know, forget them all. The Radio Row thing, other podcasts would be interviewing her. She would be a sensation.
I want Lucy on Radio Row. This seems easy enough to fulfill. This is not the way to fulfill it. Cheap before going to the Super Bowl is not the way to do it. Do you remember last year's show? There was music. Wu-Tang Clan was there. We're going from that to we can't afford a $900 costume?
I do remember last year's show. And I remember the fact that I'm dealing still with the budget reality of last year's show.
Yeah, that was expensive.
It was a nightmare, so you can forgive me trying to save the $900, which I'm trying to spread to the talent.
Lucy?
Dan, I feel like you don't remember last year's show because 5 minutes ago you asked me if I had been to the Super Bowl.
Listen here,
before.
Iowa. It's all I remember from last year is that and that Wu-Tang Clan mistake.
I remember when Wayne Newton almost fell and Tony saved him.
Oh my God.
We had these high top like bar stool type chairs, so he kind of had to get up on it, and the chair started going, and Wayne was going. We almost had a Wayne Newton falling on our stage, breaking a hip probably, and Tony stepped in, caught the man with his right arm.
Yes, that is all correct. We were so close. You understand? On the floor near the pool of fragments and pieces and rubble of Wayne Newton just being on the floor, a Las Vegas icon. We could have killed him.
That would have gone viral.
It would have been death.
Would have been better for the show. No, really. I mean, Wayne Newton falling off a high chair.
You can't do that.
No, it would have been better.
You can't do that.
It would have been the
Greg, stop, please.
You can't do that.
I don't mean him injuring himself. I just
You
mean
mean
him,
death.
I just mean him taking a pratfall. You know?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
not actually killing him in
Of course
pieces.
not. I love Wayne Newton. Danke Shane. Are you kidding me?
Old men don't take pratfalls.
Well, I take a pratfall.
You're getting to the age where you can't be falling.
No,
I fall.
Greg, what do you mean you take a pratfall? The last time you took a pratfall, we monetized it for profit. Your son didn't sell enough T-shirts, and he produced a video of you falling in the bushes after drinking too many beers at
No,
home.
I've taken a pratfall since then.
You have?
Yeah, just a few months ago.
Remember the
my
face
whole
thing?
face was bruised. He doesn't remember that either. The guy calling me disoriented doesn't remember me having a bruised face and wearing half a mask covering half my face just several months ago. But Wayne Newton pratfalling at Moss Miami or Vega, whatever it's called.
Podcast has become an unhealthy obsession over the last 10+ years, and
How is this still
Come
going?
King Billy.
Come on. He got sick there. He had to have gotten sick in Cartersville. I don't know what to do about a ruling here because we're too late in the game and we're understaffed. Like, Lucy's going to get to go whether she commits to the challenge or not. Like, we've botched this. We have not gotten the penalty that we need to get here.
But we've included her going, and it's sponsored, and the T-shirt is just fine. So I'd
No,
like
it's
you
not.
to move past it.
No, okay.
The problem is you're stuck on this, as though we don't know that you're showing the Billy thing on a loop. Don't treat us like fools. Let Lucy go, and it's going to be fine.
Thank you,
Don't
Venmo.
say bits on air, David.
God.
We just went over
no.
this.
Hold on a second.
I didn't.
Oh, geez, I hit the wrong button.
wow.
Yeah, you have
That's a
to,
fine, hitting the wrong
Samson. Samson, you
I
have
know.
to get out of here. Okay, just.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes. Major asshole.
That was a joke we were going to be doing for 3 hours that you just shit on. You just shit on that joke. We were going to do it for 3 straight hours where that comes in and you're like, hey, it's a loop, everybody. I'm the ruiner of fun. Get out of here.
See you later.
You're disoriented today. You're hitting the wrong
The
button.
Le Batard Show with Stugotz celebrates 20 years of content this year.
It's still going?
It's on a loop. Yeah, it's on a loop. Asshole.
We all need to take a deep breath. Everybody.
Well, but
Don't make me find the entire company again.
You see, did anyone pay those?
Yes, a lot. 3 people paid.
You find the entire company $5. I diligently went in there and paid the $5. Who's keeping track? Who's keeping track of the Venmo fine bucket? Because it should by now. If everyone in the company has to pay $5, that's hundreds of dollars. We have a lot of employees, like including Gabe, who I just met.
Your math is not great.
Should we ask?
Pay double.
Should we ask him what he thinks about the fine system?
Are you more aware of how many people we're paying than I am?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't think you are. And if I say $5 to everyone in the company and we're paying 100 people, that's $500. Like if Chris is fining everybody in the company, that's a significant amount of money.
There's like 4 people out there, Dan.
This is not the company. Is
Well, I guess
not
Gabe's
just
here
Gabe.
now.
Yes, there is nobody out there. The company all went to the Super Bowl. So Lucy's going to have to go, but we botched this. So what are you looking forward to doing there? Yes, congratulations. I guess this is not.
I worked so hard.
Yeah,
This is so rewarding.
Yeah, this is not the way to do this. Chris, are you upset that you're not going to the Super Bowl? Because like we all did go last year. Now because Samson has to rein in the budget, we can't all go.
I got a little FOMO, but my liver is happy. I don't need New Orleans in my life. The Super Bowl, in my experience, is like I like everything. I got to work, but then I like to have fun. So you end up by the end of it, my voice is gone. I know it's just to answer your question, I'm good not going. I had FOMO at the beginning of the week, but now I'm just like I'm tired. I'm good.
This sounds like cope.
Yeah,
FOMO.
No, I'm good. Have you ever had FOMO, Dad?
I don't know what that stands for.
Fear of missing
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
No, I didn't know it. I didn't know the acronym. I mean, everything has a. Does everything have to have an acronym? Can you just say 4 words in a row without coining a phrase for it? Come on. Exactly. Just say what the fuck and don't worry about what the.
Who was
acronym
talking
says.
to you? Who are you saying exactly to? I'm looking at Chris, Jessica,
Somebody
and Jeremy.
Somebody said WTF.
And you rolled with it.
Greg.
Where?
I'm
Greg.
rolling like a big wheel.
Was it Gabe?
Greg.
What?
This is what just happened. Okay.
Don't use the word disoriented because I'll bring up all the things you've done wrong.
Okay. But how would you just?
Great point.
It
Thank
agreed.
you.
Agreed. But it's not because I'm distracted at all.
STFU, Dan. How's that?
Got your ass.
Stands for something. I don't know what it stands for.
What do you imagine it stands for?
I know what it stands for. Don't make me say it.
I'm not going to take a quiz, or you know it.
No, I know what it stands for. I know modern acronyms. Okay.
FOMO is a modern acronym.
I know, but I'm against it. You know, I'm just say what you're going to say and don't make a phrase out of it or an.
Lucy, what are you
acronym.
looking forward to at this Super Bowl? Are you going to learn from the master Stugotz, who I already see is getting into position? I have a camera here. He is in position, and you're headed out to meet him. What are you looking forward to?
I've never been to New Orleans, so I'm actually really just excited to go. I'd like to have a beignet. Maybe I'll get a beverage or two and make it appropriate since Venmo is sending me. And by the way, quick shout out to Venmo. They're my favorite social media app. That's where you learn all the good stuff that's happening.
Okay, so Stugotz, we're looking forward to what Stugotz is going to bring us soon. Do we know? Have you gotten any reports? You're just learning. I guess you got to go now, but you're just learning now that Billy has been knocked into a gutter, right? That part of our Super Bowl coverage has been derailed. Are you going to be on God Bless Football?
Maybe. I don't know. I will say, Billy, get well soon. However, really good news. Rose doesn't have to do as much work now, and we get to hang out.
Okay, that's not good news. I need people working.
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Us hanging out is work.
No, it's okay. Thank you for all your efforts. Thank you for saving the company money.
Billy, so it was
Yes, Billy Gill is getting our coverage off to a rip-roaring start. We are sending reinforcements. Did other people here have FOMO? Anyone else here have FOMO about the Super Bowl? Jessica, did you want to get back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think we all would have liked to go. But I was just in New Orleans like 4 weeks ago, so.
I would like to have gone for the first time.
Yeah, you weren't invited to that one.
Nope.
Yeah, you get your feelings hurt when you're not invited to things around here.
I just think you did it purposefully, and I thought that it was silly. You had everybody go. It was the biggest budget item of the year in the company. Everybody was there.
Taylor
You mean
didn't
last
go.
year?
Name one person in front
Taylor.
of a microphone who makes his living with
Taylor.
Meadowlark in front of a microphone.
Pablo didn't go.
Pablo doesn't think of himself that
Yeah,
way.
he's
He
peripheral.
wouldn't lower himself to be a part of that.
Wait a minute, what?
And you would?
$100.
Well, so you guys noticed when these stupid podcast awards came out that we were celebrating overzealously. You guys did notice that Pablo very much did say in a category that I don't understand, sports documentaries by podcast form, that he was the very fine French restaurant, upscale, and that David Sampson and God Bless Football are hot dog water. That comparatively, that what they make compared to what he makes, you're telling me he was
He
too.
didn't say the water.
Yeah,
That would
to
have
be
been
fair,
worse.
he just said a hot dog stand.
No, but it was the inference. Look, I went straight to the water. Like, he went straight to the hot dog stand. Yeah, hot dogs are also delicious and can be award-winning, but it's not fine dining, and we all know it. And Pablo is lording over Hee Haw 3. Like, he's saying that what he does is more important than the artistic crafting that was Hee Haw 3 being a breakout band in Vegas.
Can I just jump in real fast? I'm sorry. I'm looking at our Radio Row feed, and it is just Radio Row in a nutshell. We're supposed to have Diana and Stugotz right now from Radio Row, and they are both behind the set, just chumming it up.
Yes.
Just talking to people.
Kabitzing.
They're supposed to be on air right now with us, and they're just both like, shaking hands, kissing babies.
This is what Billy does, and he's out. Like, Billy wrangles. Billy spends... Look,
Fuentes, get our talent.
Fuentes, Gabe has passed you in the company.
Send Gabe to New Orleans. I want Gabe in New Orleans tomorrow because Gabe would not stand for this.
Fuentes.
No room in the budget.
Fuentes, we need Diana Rossini. They are hobnobbers, the two of them. She's got a lot in common with Stugotz.
She does.
Oh, my God. Her and Stugotz are something close to kinship, soulmates, and we will not find them because if there's a Golic around, we've lost Rossini and Stugotz for a while. Any kind of Golic, a Golic of any kind. But Stugotz is trying to get something from them. Diana just genuinely likes people, but also wants information. So she, too, wants to get something.
Do we have a time zone issue? Is there a chance that Stugotz thought that it was 10 o'clock Central?
No, Samson, this is the experience. Please put it in picture. We will have a live cam, and that we'll take the consequences of however Stugotz behaves. When I heard in my ear, one of the reasons I was distracted during the first hour is because I just heard a stray, hey, Stugotz went for his morning breakfast of 2 heaters and a bottle of water. Like, and so I'm just hearing a stray from Radio Row as they get us uplinked. I've got people there, and this is Stugotz's life for 4 days. Nobody knows where he goes at night. He gets into some crevices, but during the day, he is for 12 hours nonstop, maximum hobnobbing at the top of the industry.
Classic. As you're saying it, Stugotz has now made his way out of our shot. Just, I don't know where he went.
This is not work to him. You guys got to understand, we are paying everybody to be Lucy in some form. Stugotz is also there to just enjoy himself and belch out content while just getting a hero's welcome because our podcast is popular. because everyone loves them there, right? You have to understand what Radio Row is. It's a cacophony of the same noise making predictions about the same game. So whoever there is in that place that is a little bit rebellious about the nonsense that we do, they think Lucy and Stugotz are hobnobbing heroes. That Stugotz will be slapped on the back by everyone who works there, except maybe Mad Dog, who lords over him. I think Stugotz is, maybe Jim Rome, too. Jim Rome goes with bodyguards.
Oh, God. Are you kidding?
Are you sure?
I'm positive, yes.
Like what do you mean?
Like bodyguard.
Whose sole job, not producer bodyguards,
no,
just bodyguards?
Bodyguards, plural. Bodyguards, plural. Jim Rome has been dominating Radio Row for a long time. They bring him all the important guests and those guests who are celebrities because everything there is a piranha feeding frenzy. If Snoop Dogg is coming through, that person needs security to bring him to where Jim Rome is, and Jim Rome himself uses that security to get around the building because if he has to go to the bathroom, 7 people will grab him trying to get him to do something.
Are they armed?
I think so, yes.
If I may change the subject quickly, I found out recently that my grandma has a YouTube addiction and she can't actually stop watching YouTube videos, and she's gotten fed a lot of our videos in the algorithm. And she just texted me and said, "Is he really making fun of that older gentleman?" Which I believe refers to you making fun of Greg. So I think my grandma would like an apology on Greg's behalf.
She could mean either one of us. I mean, Dan's no spring chicken, you know.
It's true.
I thought she meant me, and it was a family thing with you and me.
What do you mean?
GTFO.
She could be referring to either one of us.
Yeah.
Either because you've also you have locked horns with me today. You are done with being called disoriented. You don't like.
Right.
I can sense sometimes with you as my lifelong friend when it is that I'm landing on the wrong side of you.
And that's happened. That's happened. Look, you run a loose ship here. You're letting Rodin get away without, go to New Orleans despite. Ruining the bet with the Iguanodon. Now you're kowtowing to Samson on financial matters. I mean, it's a
I'm not.
ship.
I'm not. It's delegated. It's stuff. It's giving.
Kowtowing?
The longest 2 sentences I ever heard in my life.
With a K. Not enough people know that word. Does it have a hyphen? Does it not have a hyphen? There's some dispute there on kowtowing.
Jessica, holy shit.
Grandma getting caught in the algorithm is a lot of fun. I also enjoy the idea because I've told you guys the stories about my 80-year-old grandfather where I asked him one time to answer a cell phone and I come into the other room and he was answering the television remote control. He didn't know the difference between the two things. A cell phone was something that was foreign to him. I've also told you the stories of like showing my grandfather ESPN Classic, the Jim Leyritz home run, like walking by the television. He thinks it's a live game because he doesn't have any perspective and understands why his son is an expert or grandson is an expert because I say it looks like Wohlers is going to throw a pitch here that Leyritz is going to turn on and hit over the left field fence. That's what happens. My grandfather's amazed. Coming from Cuba, doesn't speak English. He's like, wow, my grandson, he knows so much about sports. The idea that we have an 80-year-old issue around here where people are, what are you smiling about, Samson? What are you laughing about? Because I love the idea of her grandmother getting stuck in a YouTube algorithm where she thinks Jessica is the biggest broadcast star in the world because all she's getting is videos from this show. And television just becomes her daughter because I don't know at what point 80-year-olds don't quite understand what the technology is doing to them.
She's very with it, Dan. She just watches a lot of YouTube videos.
This is going very wrong, Dan.
Great example of your elder abuse tendencies.
Ageism.
I don't think.
Dan?
Look, you guys are doing Pat Riley is too old to do that job at 78.
Ooh, I'm not. We love Pat Riley.
But wait a minute. We just got done with a bunch. Look. Tell me where the line is here because we've done it to two of America's leaders here. We've been making fun of a delirium that can happen at this age between 78 and 80 years old. I don't know. Yes, there are my fault for assuming that your grandma is lapsed into some form of senility.
That being said, I don't think she should run the Heat either. But that's not because of her age. It's just that I don't think she'd be very good at it. Just like maybe Pat Riley's not very good at it right now.
I might be wrong that I can assume that most 80-year-olds aren't dealing with YouTube. No?
Her grandmother does not think she's a star, not a star because of YouTube and seeing her on YouTube. She believes her granddaughter's a star because all grandparents think their grandchildren are stars.
Not really, in my family. You got to earn your stardom. I think my grandma can appropriately assess my level of success because she is not senile and she understands I'm on a big show. I'm not the title of the show, but I do very well for myself.
Can I close a loop from the first hour? My mom's name is Mary Elizabeth.
That's your grandmother,
Wait a
Chris.
minute. Well, wait a
That's
minute.
not a loop closure.
Did Greg get it wrong?
My bad. I asked my mom. I said, "What's your mom's name?" My bad. I misspoke again. My mom's grandma's name is Mary Elizabeth.
Chris.
Mom's mom. Like David's getting
Okay,
caught
so
in the
they're
weeds
both,
here.
They're both Marys.
Mom's mom.
Okay, they're both Marys then.
Chris, you interrupted everything we were doing with an important mom alert that you then just delivered in a way that confused everybody.
I'm confused.
It's his mom's mom.
Just
your great
say-
grandmother? Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
Out of here, Chris. Just get out of here. I don't know what you were doing there.
Still wrong, Chris.
I don't know why you were doing it. You can yell at everybody. You can take it up with everybody. Get out now, please. Thank you.
I think he was right.
Okay, you can leave with him then.
Okay.
Both of you can get out of here.
I'm going to call my grandma.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
The thing that I wanted to ask Greg Cody and David Sampson in the business of sports that you guys have seen. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit it again.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
Extra.
Fine for a mistake.
That's fine. I'll pay the fine. That's fine.
Disoriented.
I will pay the fine. I pressed it because I thought when I lost my executive producer that sound wasn't going to stop. So I pressed it again because I had the cheering involved. But I wanted to ask you guys, as people who have studied the business of sports, when you see, I'm going to call it the disloyalty of what Dallas just did to their biggest star, although you can call it just the evolution of teams trying to get a hold of the players on, if you're going to leave in a year and a half, we're not going to let you have all the control. And Damian Lillard's going to try and shift it this way, and we're going to watch what Jimmy Butler does. And Luka, we're going to do this. Like, if there's nothing else here, we're going to do this 18 months beforehand so you don't go to the Lakers on us 18 months from now, and you get to leave as a hero. The news that I saw yesterday in football that results in one, Myles Garrett requesting a trade, which is not a normal football thing. I know it happens some, but usually in football, a player doesn't quite have the power to do that publicly and garner support the way Myles Garrett just did, which is like, okay, can that power come to football now? But then also coldly I saw, and the business of this kind of was like, man, really? Cooper Kupp wants to keep playing for the Rams. The Rams announced yesterday, we're trading him. And Cooper Kupp doesn't rip the organization, but just says, I'm highly motivated to get the next money on that contract. And as I'm watching that happen, I'm like, okay, so Cooper Kupp basically won the Super Bowl for that team. If you can have an allegiance to a region, he made Matthew Stafford this because in the Super Bowl, when they were down on the game-winning drive, nobody in the stadium didn't understand that the ball was going to Cooper Kupp, and Stafford is throwing the ball to him with no-look passes. For that person and that memory to be so disposable at the end that Cooper Kupp is now like, hey, see you later. Sorry if that hurts, but we've got Puka now, and we can't have two of you because we understand the finances of the league. It makes me long in some ways for the 1972 Steelers that were able to stay together and not have any sort of free agency because those teams could stay together for a while and build something that I would remember for a long time without having the ending be contaminated like this, when that should be a beautiful thing with him and that relationship with the city. Like, they did a beautiful, really hard thing together and did it on a body that has taken all of the abuse because those receivers play so physically that you're basically churning them through a wood chipper. Like, Puka's body is going to age really fast because of how physically those receivers play. And Puka's job now replaces Cooper, takes his money. And so at the end, what am I supposed to do with all of that when something is that cold of a business transaction in the age of the transaction?
You're supposed to not keep using a typewriter when there's a computer available. It is true that people long for the day of when a player would be on a team for an entire career, but those days have been gone for 40 years. I mean, the Robin Younts of the world are the exception, not the rule. And so stars change teams. What shocks me about this is the position the GM took, Andrew Berry, who said, hey, give me 2 number ones. I'm still not trading him. I will not trade this guy. That's more GM malpractice. You've got to trade somebody if there's an overpay, and it seems like someone would overpay for Myles Garrett.
It's not only what is happening in the NFL and the NBA and everywhere else. When Myles Garrett sees what LeBron James was able to do and sort of revolution of players under contract being able to steer their way out, and now you have pro players seeing the transfer portal in college where college players, all of a sudden Carson Beck is with the Miami Hurricanes. And if you're Myles Garrett, you're trying to get out of that hellhole, which is Cleveland. Why not leverage whatever you have? And despite what the general manager is saying, how can you keep him if he's blatantly unhappy not being there?
I don't want to be forced to trade a player because they say they're unhappy. The Marlins did it with Derek Jeter when Yelich said he was unhappy, and they made a terrible trade. You cannot let players dictate whether you move them, and taking an ad out in a paper and putting it in bold font and saying, I want to win a Super Bowl. It's not Cleveland to Canton. Give me a break.
David, yours is a bygone time, though. You're using old executive privilege there. The players have more power than that now. Myles Garrett can exert something over Cleveland. Like, you can say all you want. Organization has to ignore that he's unhappy. Not once he goes public with it. That's not the world we live in anymore.
The only power they have is what we give them. That's the fact. You can't. It's like blaming a player for signing a big contract. The owners decide to agree to the contract.
David, does it change in a capped sport versus a non-capped sport, though? Because, if you're the Marlins, you can, or any other team in Major League Baseball, you can have money wasting away on your bench, but just spend more money to make up for that. In a capped sport, like in the NFL or the NBA, that's not the case. So when someone's taking up so much of your cap, are you not behooved to move them more than maybe in Major League Baseball?
Because they're unhappy?
If they're not going to play for you, if they're going to hold out, if they're not going to give you their max effort. We've seen literal examples of this over the last month in the NBA.
Literal examples of players who stop playing because they want to be moved. They stop playing well. Are we saying that Luka was feigning injury, or
I'm
that
saying
Joel
Jimmy
Embiid?
Butler.
Jimmy Butler has chosen not to play in order to get Pat Riley to trade him? Is that the position?
Yes.
That
The metrics were obviously supported that he wasn't trying very hard. He was
by taking fewer shots.
All of it. Running whatever.
Slower.
It was obvious. It could be obvious to even the human eye. But what are you saying? Like, if that power is not an irrelevant one, the ability to just quit on your team. I think most of sports would say that that basically, if you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. Like, if you the way that those locker rooms unite around whatever it is that they're doing, the Heat have turned on Jimmy Butler. Like, those are real friendships that have been fractured by what's happened over the last 3 weeks. Those were real. Hey, we shared those memories just a couple of years ago. Oh, you're going to throw those away? Like, those relationships are legitimately hurt. They don't want him around.
Do you think it's a coincidence that all of the guaranteed portion of Myles Garrett's extension in 20 are finished, and now he's into the unguaranteed part? Do you think there's any part of this where he's trying to get guaranteed money?
Yes, of course.
So what are you talking about? This is all just posturing by Myles Garrett that he's hiding under the I want to win a Super Bowl. And what, you're going to guarantee that you're going to win a Super Bowl because you're traded? I was thinking about this on Nothing Personal. What's the list for Andrew Berry? I'll take from you guys. What's the list of where he should be traded? Chiefs?
I don't know which teams have the cap space for it, but it might not be a guarantee that wherever he is traded wins a Super Bowl, but it is a guarantee if he stays in Cleveland, he will not. That's how bad the situation is there.
There's a lot of bad. I happen to totally agree that the Cleveland Browns with Haslam and Watson are finished, although Watson, I think, is likely finished. But you can't. Giancarlo Stanton did this to us. He said, I want to win a World Series. I won't go to the Cardinals. I won't go to the Giants. I want to go to the Dodgers or Yankees. Went to the Yankees a long time ago, no ring yet. It's a lot harder than you think. So we don't allow a player to just say, I want to win.
No, but look, this I don't know what will happen here. I don't know what the Cleveland Browns statements will be about what they do. I do assume that once this salvo has been fired, he doesn't want his guaranteed money in Cleveland. He wants his guaranteed money, and he'll get it because he's at maximum leverage. He's the most fearsome thing that there is, and he's done the impossible. He has made Greg Cody rise from the old days and write the old newspaper column in the Miami Herald, Dolphins should get Myles Garrett. It's a column Zaslow has been making fun of Greg Cody for 25 years.
Yeah.
Greg Cody was called by Taylor and told that was a good column. It had slipped.
Okay.
It had slipped what? It had
No.
slipped his attention.
I had a feeling that was coming. I did not write the column because Taylor told me to. I was writing something else when Christopher called me and says, hey, Taylor says this and this and this. I had not heard the Myles Garrett news yet, okay? When I was done, what the other thing I was doing, and I found out that Myles Garrett was saying, hey, trade me, I absolutely would have written that column without a prod from anybody else.
Wow.
Because
no credit for Taylor and I.
No. In this case, no. When somebody like Myles Garrett says they want to be traded, and I think there's a plausibility that the Dolphins could be in the market, I'm going to write that
You're
column.
saying you didn't know he wanted to be traded. Did you know or did you not know?
I didn't at the time that he told me because I was writing something else. I was concentrating on
You
something else I
detoured
was
based
writing.
on Chris and Taylor and will give them no credit for giving you the column that made you not write the previous column.
This is exhausting. No, I wrote the previous column, and then I went to Myles Garrett.
The Gill family are proud owners of two dogs, Izzy and Dopey.
Starting to see the light. Regardless of who's in it, it's a spectacle.
I think I'm starting to come around. Like, for instance, everybody wagering on a team. Chris Collinsworth sliding into your screen. I was too caught up in being a fan instead of just shotgunning beers and betting the Rams. Oh, tell me, you got more reasons. You got more reasons.
Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all. Pat McAfee, writings on the wall, what's it gonna be? You'll see Marshall Falk and Mariucci. Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all from Dominique. Writings on the wall, What's it gonna be? You can get it all. Kyle Brandt's Hemis.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
My team's not there, but I'm gonna show.
My team's also not there, but I'm gonna show.
Everybody knows it's bound to be.
Everybody knows it's bound to be
The greatest night for you and me. Come on now. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there.
The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads and a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Maybe one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now! One shot at whiskey a go-go. There we go!
Now we're drinking to unemployed technicians, but a job to do. Professionals.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Man, am I excited to talk to Diana here.
Wow, that is overly exuberant there. What just happened? What just happened that I wasn't listening to and did not hear?
She shamed me before we joined here because I don't have enough energy when she joins normally, so I wanted to make sure I fixed that.
Well, she's got to be excited because she is sitting next to the #1 football podcast host in American football. 3 of the last 4 years, God Bless Football has arrived. Diana, it has been lovely to watch the two of you, Maximum Stugotz, and watch you two in the wild. Tell me about schmoozing out there on Radio Row. We've been watching you, and it's been delightful.
Yeah, we've actually scared people away from our conversations over here. I've been spending the last 20 minutes catching up with Stu. There's no conversation about football or family. I've just been complaining to him for the last 20 minutes. So he's trying to help me here feel better about my space here on Radio Row.
She's been complaining about her set, Dan. She is not happy with her location here on Radio Row, and location is everything here on Radio Row. Super Bowl week. I have done a lay of the land. I know where everyone is situated. Diana is not happy, but this is what Radio Row is all about. Right before she talked to me, she was cornered by Doug Kazarian. I mean, how about that?
And I'm stuck talking to Doug. I look at Stu. I go, that's it. My setup is the Doug Kazarian of setups. Like, it's just,
Why are we taking out Doug?
Diana, has Stugotz promised you that he'll get you a better spot?
That is my setup. No, so here's my thought. There's not much I can do. Like, that's my colleague, Robert Mays. He's fantastic. He's got the football podcast on The Athletic. This is not a knock on Robert. Robert had nothing to do with this. But that's going to be the Scoop City setup. It's facing the bathroom.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, I can't even grab an athlete walking by, someone trying to sell a cart, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I mean, this is just prime real estate. You can see everything.
Well, this is the #1 football podcast in the world.
I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
All the action here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have guests walk up to our set and help decorate and maybe make it a little bit more electric. I've started already. I'm just going to hold this up. Scoop City, you can come by.
Diana, you deserve better than this. You're hustling. You're in Mobile, Alabama last week. What is happening here? Who do the complaints go to? David, you've been making faces the whole time. Are you saying you feel like Diana's spoiled or something? Why are you making faces?
I just feel like the audience does not care about the setup, and they care about what you say, and they love you, and they love your show. And for you to MF your setup, it just didn't interest me. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, what our audience cares about is salary cap talk. That's exactly what it is that they care about. And by the way, leave Greg Cody alone. Is this what happens when me and Billy Gill aren't here? Everyone teams up and goes after the great, wonderful Greg Cody. I am outraged by this.
Didn't I just compliment him, by the way?
Take
that crap back.
And David, she just said that you bring so much to the show when we're talking about the salary cap, which is something we should never be talking about.
I really appreciate that you both are here, and we're sorry to have kept you waiting.
So Stugotz is not entirely wrong, and he's especially not wrong that when Billy goes out with the stomach flu and Stugotz disappears, I'm not joking, in the last break, he will tell you, Greg Cody will, I held him to my bosom gently and told him, you know what, you've taken an unfair beating the last 2 hours because Billy and Stugotz are not here, and nobody is paying attention to where Greg Cody needs his feelings supported. And I held him to my bosom.
Yeah, awkward.
And he forgave me because I explained to him, but however, the last 2 hours have been really good. They've been a bullying. They've been unfair. David Sampson piled on. Not good for David Sampson. Not good for Cody. But David Sampson hit him in the face twice with the microphone while interviewing him. And thank you, Stugotz, for standing up for Greg Cody, because you're right. Can you tell me about the schmoozing out there? Can you tell me because we were watching you guys, and basically it seems like you're being paid to just meet people you really want to talk to.
Pretty much, Dan. Listen, I flew on a bird here. Jimmy Johnson was in the seat right in front of me. He was watching that Mormon show. We had a couple of Heinegens. It was delightful.
His texts are probably so huge.
So huge. And here's what he does, Chris. He holds his phone. Jimmy's getting old, but he looks great. He had a button-down shirt. He holds the phone in his pocket on the button-down shirt.
Love that move.
Oh, it's so great.
That's called I'm not caring about anyone trying to reach me, you know, if you're putting it up there.
Yep. Ordered 2 Heinegens, first order, one Heineken.
You mentioned, and look, we really don't need to be this invasive on his privacy there.
I think it was Miller Lite.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, I'm just telling you what the man ordered. And listen, I have run into Ryan Leaf. I've seen Andrew Perloff. I have seen everyone, Dan.
Wait a minute.
Really picking up steam.
Wait a minute. Wait. Andrew Perloff and Ryan Leaf is not a list of everyone. Stugotz.
That's
Stugotz.
McLovin for the uninitiated.
Stugotz. Like, that is bare minimum effort on just dropping names on people you've seen. Like, you're selling us Tuesday Super Bowl week. Who's there? Perloff and Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, but how about an airplane with Jimmy Johnson?
That's
great. That's pretty exciting. And Sean Merriman in the airport. I mean,
wow. Were you kicking the back of Jimmy's chair on the bird?
I was a little bit, yeah. I told Jimmy the scariest call I make is the call I make to his house every time Dan wants him on. He laughed at that. We had a moment. He gave me a fist bump, and then he got out of there. That was it. Excellent. That was the end of Jimmy.
That's good coverage. I'm glad that we've sent everybody there in order to get all of the information on the drinking habits of others. Diana, is this week a bombardment of stimuli for you that you enjoy, or is it stressful?
Love it. Live for this. First of all, New Orleans is the best city. They should
great.
just have the Super Bowl here every single year.
Yep.
It's compact. It's close. It feels just like one big party in your town. I've only been here 24 hours and I'm saying this. The food's delicious. Everyone is just happy to be here. So I just think the energy, it's because it's so early in the week and you can feel it already. I can't imagine what this is going to be by Thursday and Friday. And just the fact that we start the week with a bomb of Myles Garrett asking for a trade, that was music to my ears because it actually was a little slow. There wasn't much going on. So now that becomes the thing everyone's talking about here.
Well, walk us through what that means. Just take us through. Myles Garrett exerting this means what's going to happen?
It means that the Browns are going to have to make a really hard decision. And I don't think anyone thinks this is going to be easy. In fact, I had somebody in the league share with me yesterday that they just think this could get really messy because this isn't about a new contract in Cleveland for Myles Garrett, right? Because we've seen players do this all the time where they just want to get paid by the team that they're on. We saw it with Brandon Ayuk. We saw it with Deebo Samuel. They threaten, they stay. Lamar Jackson threatens, they stay. This is about winning for Myles Garrett. This is about him wanting to go be part of an organization that is built towards winning and getting closer to it, a situation that he doesn't feel is happening in Cleveland. And look, when you think about what he has seen from his vantage point, and he's around these guys and he knows what their process is and he knows what this future is going to look like, you can understand why he's probably not psyched about the plan that the Browns have, knowing that this probably all went off course when they gave Deshaun Watson that deal.
The NFL is a league where teams can change their fortune from one season to the next. So for him to sort of speculate that the Browns will never have a shot, that he can't win there, I think there is money at stake here. And Diana, I just would point out to all of the great listeners here that your sources don't care where you are situated on Radio Row.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, but she cares. I mean,
David, my issue with it is no one knows where I am, who I am. This is such a saturated place, and no one even knows where I work anymore. So I wanted something with just like even an ice cream truck.
you wanted to
Stu
announce
City.
yourself. You wanted to announce
did.
yourself in your new gig.
Maybe
Yes.
I should get a band, with
Right.
like a marching band just around me.
But Diana, hold on a second. Like, as someone who has admired your climb through the industry and the brave things you've done, correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory has been elusive on this. Wasn't the first year setup that we had at the Super Bowl something that made us feel small compared to what we used to have when we were at the Super Bowl, Stugotz? Because I was fairly awed by what we were able to do last year, at least in part because it represented a growth that stemmed from feeling exactly the way Diana does today, which is like, man, we used to be a bigger thing, and here we landed a little softer than I would have liked.
So the first Super Bowl we did with Meadowlark a few years back, Dan, we were at a table right in the middle of the action. That's where I like to be. That's where all the local radio stations are. I have walked through that entire area. I'm throwing books at like Frisbees at tables, and they're promoting it for me, which I love it. Hey, they wave to me. Hey, Stugotz. But now we're on the outskirts. We're on the outside looking in, which I don't particularly like, but it is beautiful. And that means you've graduated to one of the biggest shows, and in my case, the biggest show, biggest football show in America, in the history of American football.
So,
Diana
I'm
is
the
upset.
cubicle.
She's upset because she is facing the bathrooms and the smoking area. That is not where you want to be, Super Bowl week, Radio Row. Perhaps in 2 years, Dan, she will graduate to where I've graduated to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Right.
My view will be you smoking cigs, just taking down a couple heaters in between some of your interviews.
Yeah,
in the
but
corner.
Dan's saying there are steps to this.
Oh, Michael Pittman's at my set.
Oh, my.
I got a guest.
Dan, Super Bowl Radio Row.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Fitz is walking by. I mean, oh my God, what is happening? Oh, I love this place.
Diana, I feel like a set facing a bathroom may be actually prime real estate.
I'm with you. Everyone pees.
Everybody pees. Maybe they're in there a little longer than that.
You know what?
And when they're walking out of the
You
bathroom,
know
who
what?
do they see?
You might have gotten the primest real estate there
Yes,
is, Diana,
correct.
because, yes, put it on the poll. Does everyone pee at Le Batard Show? I believe that is like anyone who comes through that facility who has to go to the bathroom. If you tell me, hey, what can you have on Radio Row? That or the field? I think I take that. I think I take the bathroom because that's where the guests will be at some point, at least in part to avoid nasty Nestor from Baltimore.
Yeah, let's do this. I know I'm not scheduled to come on this Friday because you'll have big name guests, but maybe I'll pop on for about 4 minutes and just give you an update of how my week went. The first time representing Scoop City here on Radio Row at the bathroom. Poop City. That's what I should change my name.
Yes, that's good. That's it. Poop City.
Just keep
Yes.
Call your show that the
Do
entire
it.
week.
Yes, change all of your graphic imaging and change it to Poop City this week from the Super Bowl.
I want to see the report that Sal Pal's been to the bathroom 3 times in the last hour. I want something like that.
Maybe that's the play, is to just keep track of everyone's bathroom habits and just give updates throughout.
Yes.
Like today, I'm interviewing Kirk Cousins and Drake May, and while I'm interviewing, stop the interview with Kirk Cousins after I ask him what the heck is he going to do next year. Be like, quick update for you here. Pat McAfee just went to the bathroom for the 4th time in the last hour. So Kirk, tell me more about what this experience is like. Do you have any
That's
regrets
good.
that you
That's
didn't stay
good.
in Minnesota?
Yes.
Did you feel like you ever got a little too greedy?
Yeah.
Because now you're in a position where you're going to probably be in Cleveland.
Yes, Poop City is great, and I think what you also need to do is give us invasive reports from the Super Bowl of who's in there too long.
Yes.
Like
You should
just
put a mic in there.
I mean, Golick's been in there for a half hour.
yeah, who's been in there too long, because that's an unpleasant place. David Sampson would never use that bathroom that way. There could be nothing happening in David Sampson's life that would make him use the Radio Row bathroom.
Which is why if you're Billy Gill, you got a problem. Because Billy Gill, Diana, is going to be near you at all times, like 8 times a day.
Yeah, he's
not feeling good, just so you know. Billy ill, yes.
Yes, Stugotz, where are we with this? Because one of the key things Billy does while at Radio Row is rein you in. So how problematic is it going to be, or how much better is God Bless Football going to be? Because now we've got Stugotz who can be less controlled.
God Bless Football is never better if Billy's not here. That's just not the case. But Jenny is here, Dan, and you are familiar with Jenny. And she will not let me walk 15 feet away from this place because I like to roam around Radio Row. I got to see Doggy. I got to see Diana. I got to be cornered by Doug Kazari, and that's what this week is all about for me. But Jenny won't let me have it, and so
she's an assassin. Jenny.
You asked me if you were texting me about coming on. It wasn't for this. It was to come be on your podcast.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Okay, Jenny is really in charge out there. I hope that
He has a lot of guests.
I don't know how many
Everyone's
people.
gotta poop.
I don't know how many Meadowlark employees we have out there, but you guys were listening when we were talking about Cooper Kupp. I don't know what the main storyline is after Myles Garrett. I imagine the game storylines aren't quite in play yet. So when it comes to Cooper Kupp and that, are we so now numb to the transaction that nationally a receiver who for 1 year was a record-breaking receiver unlike almost any we'd ever seen, who connects very well with Stafford, that his career with the Rams is over and it's just this overtly about money and he doesn't really want it to be over? Like, does it matter at all that he won a championship there?
Yeah, it does matter. But let's just go back to the time right before the trade deadline. I think I was actually on the show telling you about how the Rams were calling around to different teams to move him, right? And so he obviously found out about that. So he's known his time with LA was coming to an end. If they were showing that kind of interest, and look, the Rams came out and said, no, we're not dealing him. And I think it got a little messy in terms of the communication. And David, you could speak to it better than any of us about what the best process is when you're inquiring, right? I don't think they were full on shopping Cooper Kupp, but I can tell you there were 3 different teams that had conversations with the Rams about their interest in trading for him before the trade deadline. And I don't think Cooper knew of it. And I think after that moment, and if you remember right before the trade deadline, the Rams weren't great. I understood why that front office was looking to move him at the time. Obviously, the other side to this is the fact that he's been there for 7 years. He helped win them a Super Bowl. He's loved in that organization. So I think after that moment and since then and understanding the future for them, I think both sides know it's over and they both want to go in different directions despite the fact that they've had such a great time together.
Every great run comes to an end.
I understand that every great run comes to an end, but I also understand somewhere in our obsession with the transaction where it's okay to point out, I understand how Cooper Kupp would be hurt by all of that. Like, yes, I know it's tons of money and I know it's business, and I also understand why he wouldn't love at the end that the organization would chew him up like that, even understanding that the organization doesn't really owe him anything other than a paycheck.
Yeah, I don't think players think that way, actually. I think that it is the exception, not the rule. I think players are very understanding. In terms of communication at the deadline, I was an executive who would communicate with my players when we were talking about them at the deadline and just tell them the truth. Yeah, of course, there are people calling on you. You're a good player. You want people to call on you in baseball.
Yeah, but he wants to remain there, does he not, Diana? Do you not understand why he'd be hurt about this? I'm not surprised that David would go maximum business on this. An employee's allowed to have human feelings.
No, I agree. But David, what about the positions you were in when you were just interested to see what that market would be, that maybe you decide not to even tell the player about it because it's just light conversations. You're just trying to get a feel. Did that ever happen? And did you think that the player would need to be told that even if it was just flirting?
Yeah, there's a lot of flirting. It's like trying to see how much your house is worth and then pretending that you're rich because your house has gone up, but you're not actually monetizing it, so you don't have the money. We would often say, hey, what would you give for Stanton? Like, how badly would you want him? And I wouldn't go to Giancarlo with conversations like that because you're having those talks every day, really, with other teams on all sorts of players.
I would assume that is kind of how it is that Luka ends up happening somewhere in there in the confusion of everything that happened there. Stugotz, what can you tell people? Because you're about to take over for the entire week. God Bless Football is celebrating itself, and football for the next 3 days in a way that I will say is gluttonous and flatulent and wonderful and award-winning. And so you're going to basically start the Super Bowl party. As soon as you stop now, what are you looking forward to over the course of the week?
I am looking forward to First off, I'm looking forward to seeing Christopher Mad Dog Russo, because really Radio Row doesn't start until Mad Dog walks in. But, Dan, we are loaded. I mean, I am telling you, I am looking forward to Justin Pugh. I am looking forward to Reggie Bush, Ed Reed, Vernon Davis, Victor Cruz. Puka Nakua is going to join us. Greg, we're going to play him your song.
Yes.
Again?
I am very excited.
Yeah,
Yes.
you remember that.
Yes.
Those are good guests.
And we have Funny Marco, of course. So.
Send him to the bathroom.
Mhm.
Tell him to stop by my side.
Did Diana just get jealous about the GBF guests? Is that
No
what
way.
we just witnessed?
No way.
I mean, she has cousins in May, okay?
I got one of the best rookie quarterbacks coming on my show today. I got to go prep, actually.
Right, and I got Funny Marco. I mean, it's
Well, and you have Bloody Mary. You have, don't forget that if Billy
yeah.
Gill gets better, Bloody Mary and whatever it is you guys are doing, you guys are resuscitating Don Shula, are you not? I don't want to spoil too much here, but
I think you've said enough. You've said enough. Diana,
okay.
are you going to play May or May not with Drake May?
Oh, you have to. Yeah.
Is that a game? Is that a thing?
Yeah, may or may not, of course.
All
Right.
do it. Thanks
Series
for
of
the idea.
questions, may
That's
or may
a
not.
fine.
May means yes, may not means no. Just okay.
Thanks for being clear.
You got
Chris,
it.
thanks
Yeah.
for the idea.
Mhm.
Good contribution.
Diana, are you indeed jealous of Stugotz's guest list? No, you can't be. You must not
She's
be.
jealous of my setup, Dan. That's it. That's all.
thing is, I understand, especially as a woman, how ugly jealous can look on you. So I'm trying to contain myself, but I'm staring over at Kay Adams' set, and it looks like a palace. Right? She's got couches. She's got a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a stylist over there. Someone's massaging her feet right now. I don't even have an
Pretty
outlet
good.
over there.
Yeah.
I can't charge my computer.
Mhm.
You know, so look, I got to get over this.
You
and
got a
just-
bathroom, though.
I am going to think about David this whole day, though. It's about the quality of these interviews, what I'm sharing with the listeners. No one cares if my nails are a cool color because I had someone do it for Super Bowl week. They care about the inside, the intel. So, David, thank you for it.
Look,
I'm here for you.
I want everyone to know, okay, and I will say this publicly. I don't mind saying it. I know this is going to be so. Diana Rossini and Poop City are going to kick the ass of Adams all week long. All week. She'll have her couches and she'll get her celebrity guests, and everybody will interact in a way that's fun and fine, but it won't have the information that Diana Rossini will get on Poop City. I'm willing to say that in front of everybody.
All right. Well, we will see you. You are really putting me to the test.
It will when you go on Kay Adams' show, though, right?
I've never been invited.
You're invited, trust me.
No, you can't offer that invitation. You don't have that power over Kay Adams.
do.
I don't think you realize what a rising star in the business she is. And
Oh, I do. She's fantastic. But her producer already asked me, hey, can you get me, not me, can you get me Diana Rossini?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because you became my booker all of a
You're
sudden.
the booking agent for Diana Stu?
I mean, look at her setup. She has no one here with her. She's by herself. I mean, someone treat her with respect. I deserve it. I deserve it.
Lies on top of lies with more lies. So many lies.
So I am appreciative.
Shut up. They're always in my head. They're always in my head.
Your mics are still hot, Stu and Diana.
Wouldn't be able to find her if she walked right past him.
Diana should have a big guest called urinate or defecate.
Okay,
Urinate
so
or defecate.
urinate
Yes,
or
that's a good-
defecate.
that's a
That
good
is
team.
needs to go.
That is a
I mean-
good
No, I
guest.
don't wanna go. I'll
Good
hang
luck.
a What do you guys want to hear from Kirk Cousins since we're producing all my
I
segments
want
here?
Kirk Cousins on the show. Is what I want.
Urinate or defecate.
Yes, that we can start with urinate or defecate with Kirk Cousins, and then just ask him, "Hey, that was pretty funny the way that happened. They gave you all that money, and then your career was over after 8 games."
You can ask whether he pees in the shower.
Yep.
Actually, how do you feel about this? I think this is the most fun game that you can play anywhere in sports.
Kirk or jerk?
Nope, that's a good one. Kirk or jerk. Kirk or jerk is a good one. But I want to do. Would you attend their funeral? Is what I want to do with David Sampson, and I want to see if I can play this with Diana Rossini. It's hard to play it with liars. Okay, so I don't think I should play it with Stugotz. The thing that makes it difficult is that people David Sampson is very good at, he'll tell you the truth even if it's uncomfortable. And so when I ask you, would you attend the funeral of Glenn Geffner? What is your answer? Marlins broadcaster Glenn Geffner, how long was he in your employ as a broadcaster for the Marlins?
For many, many years, but he then went rogue against Bruce Sherman and Derek Jeter when he got fired. And so I would Zoom into Glenn Geffner's funeral, but I would not attend in person.
Wow.
So he went into the middle stage from no chance to a Zoom to attend.
Diana Rossini, do you want to play this game? Would you like
She
to
doesn't
play?
know who Glenn Geffner is.
No. I'm not going to ask her about Glenn Geffner. I'm going to ask her somebody for her, Stugotz.
Okay, all right.
Dan, I want to play this game because I've thought about stuff like this, but I have to preface it with the answer is going to probably be yes to anyone because I'm an Italian Catholic that lives in the Northeast, and it's a hobby to attend funerals for my people. It's just like what you do. Like everyone in my family goes to everyone's wake. I'm like,
So do Jews, Diana, but the game doesn't call for that.
I don't believe that you would. So let me ask you this question. You're saying you would go to the funeral of Jeff Darlington?
I'd speak at it.
No, you wouldn't.
Even if not asked.
How many?
What if there was a big story you were pursuing?
Forgive me. No, this was
Go cover the story. Take a selfie too.
my bad. I did not obviously know that Jeff Darlington was your best friend. That was not something I was aware of. Of course.
I thought it was me. Yeah.
That ends up being a bad question. David Sampson, would you attend the funeral of longtime Marlins broadcaster Craig Minervini?
Minnie in the midday.
Minnie, no. I enjoyed playing cards with him. I enjoyed him. He does a good job. No. I would not. Sorry, Craig.
I am sorry, Greg. Would you,
Craig.
David Sampson, attend the funeral of longtime Marlins broadcaster Rich Waltz?
No.
What?
No, I would not. I'm sorry that he will be dead, but I will not attend it. You guys all lie during this game. It's
Well, let's see. Diana, would you attend the funeral of Adam Gase?
Yeah, that's my best friend. I'd probably speak at it. I would.
This is an outrage.
This is
I like
the
him.
game gets ruined when you play it this way.
We're learning David's the only one that can play this game.
What Dan is learning is that Diana is me. That's why we get along so well.
Mike Vrabel, you'll attend his funeral?
Absolutely. He
Okay, you
said yes
stink.
to every interview.
Poop City. Go where you find Diana stinking. Poop City, over by the bathroom on Radio
If you
Row.
do something for me,
Thank
I'll
you,
attend
guys.
your
I
wake.
appreciate it.
Yes to all your interview
They're so
requests.
similar. They're
Keep
so
the Lysol
similar.
handle.
Stugotz and Diana are they're disturbingly similar.
I don't think Stu would go to anybody's funeral, though. He would not be inconvenienced.
He will
in
say,
that
well,
way.
I also don't think that Diana has been going to funerals nonstop all year. Like, I don't think that Diana actually attends as many funerals as she alleges on the air. But I may have that wrong. She really befouled that game. The game has not worked with anybody but David Sampson. I'd like to play.
Guillermo came to Atlanta to cover the Super Bowl, and after beating the Freeze in a race at Truist Park.
You got to be kidding me. It's still going. That speech in Cartersville, Billy is still looking that kind of awkward.
He did beat the Freeze. And Ken, while we're talking about Billy Gill, let me remind people that you can join the last one of the season, GBF's weekly contest, dkng.co/Smirnoff, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. Dan, for the Super Bowl, are you going to be playing this week?
I will not be. I will not be participating in the Listener League again this week. I hope Billy Gill is. He will tough it out no matter his state, because this is
he will.
This is a difficult circumstance that he finds himself in. There's something here I have not talked about for 3 days, and I'm curious about how it's being covered, because I don't actually know how it's being covered. But I know that since Friday, this has been something that's available as a talking point, and if I'd been watching all of the coverage on Deshaun Watson, I would wonder why there isn't more coverage on what's happening and being alleged on Justin Tucker in Baltimore, where it's 9 women, 5 spas, and one would assume on the allegations, one would assume that he didn't have the great misfortune on what's being alleged of being caught every time he's doing this. So we've got something that is big and might be growing. And we've also seen that the coverage does not have nearly the intensity that the Deshaun Watson coverage has had. And a lot of people are going to notice, oh, it's the quarterback being famous versus the kicker. And a lot of people are going to notice, oh, it's the black guy versus the white guy. A lot of people are going to notice it's the first guy versus the second guy. But this kind of deviance and predatory behavior is something that I'm negligent in not talking about for 3 days, but I also do want to see as many facts as I can, and I don't think I can lend any benefit of the doubt on these allegations when there are this many and many different people, and there are receipts. Like, it would go to you'd be going to a great length to concoct all of this. And I think the day and age is gone where you can dismiss this as gold digging when you have multiple accusers. This is a Baltimore icon who is presently, through allegations, my guess is, falling in disgrace right now in a way that's very different than Deshaun Watson did in moving from another city and to another city as Hope. This is a guy who had a terrible season as maybe the best kicker ever. I don't know where these allegations align with that. It's secondary to what it is that we're talking about. But I do know that it's not being covered with the same intensity. That can't be disputed, correct?
I totally agree with you. I've been following this the last several days, and it's very incriminating evidence. And the benefit of doubt for me goes to the multiple women who are accusing, and the women don't know each other. There's no sign of a conspiracy here. And Justin Tucker, we're talking about one of the few place kickers who's on a Hall of Fame path. Like, this is arguably, notwithstanding the rough season he had last year, this is probably the greatest kicker active, if not ever, and it should be getting more attention. And I really wonder if his NFL career survives this. I really have doubts about that.
But Dan, we had a show on Friday. I wasn't here, so I'm pretty sure you guys didn't talk about it, but like, you control the topics that we talk about on the show. So if you're going to sit here and wonder why it's not getting the same coverage, I think you should probably explain why you chose not to talk about it on Friday.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It was a 2-hour show, and I wanted more information to come in, and more information did come in over the weekend. But that doesn't excuse
the initial Baltimore banner story was very detailed and had a lot of information in it. I don't think you can write it off as like, well, let's wait and see what happens next. Like, what happened next was that he put out a statement, said none of it was true, and that it was, all bullshit. And then 3 more massage therapists came forward and said, no, this happened to us too. And one of them had like a paper she allegedly wrote many years ago talking about it to her boss. So like, yeah, that information's
totally fair.
Like, but the initial reporting was also very solid.
I can take that criticism, and it's fair, and I'm apologizing for it on the front end in not getting to it. And it's an easy trick to do, to castigate others for behavior that I too am guilty of. But it's hard not to notice what has happened since in the reaction. What are you shaking your face about, David?
That I don't want you to castigate yourself for not covering it. I covered it on Nothing Personal, and then something else came up, so I tried to cover it again. But we're in an exercise where you've got 300 minutes for a 50-minute show. And the thing with Justin Tucker, it is a completely different allegation than what the allegations were against Deshaun Watson. Completely different. And it is Justin Tucker I don't think survives. I think that he will be let go by the Ravens because his performance tailed off this year. But I don't want to compare this to the Deshaun Watson. It's equal. It's horrible, and he doesn't deserve – no woman deserves to have that done to them in a massage. But the allegations against Watson were far different. And I pointed that out on the show, and I don't think maybe that was a factor in you not doing it.
Well, I don't know what far different, though. Deshaun
Watson was accused of sexual assault.
There were some different allegations also, but I think the similar thread is that in both situations you have men in very powerful positions that are behaving inappropriately and making women uncomfortable that are hired to work for them. So yeah, the comparison I think is fair in that it's in a similar situation, a similar setting.
The number of people who go and get happy endings, obviously, there's a power dynamic, whether you're Justin Tucker or whether you are Robert Kraft or whether you are Mr. Anonymous going to one of the massage places. The fact is, when you go for that, when it's not the atmosphere where happy endings happen, that's when the issue happens. Because there are plenty of massage places where you go and everyone knows what the price of entry is. And so my thing with Justin Tucker is that he was getting massages. The thing I didn't know is were they in those sort of spas where that's happening? Because Deshaun Watson was getting them done purportedly as sports massages, and he was then assaulting the women. And I don't know if Justin Tucker was at one of the strip mall places.
I mean, based on the reporting, no, it seems like this was a situation that none of these people wanted to be a part of. So
It's 9 women, 5 spas, and one would assume it's just the ones who have come forward.
I don't know if any statute of limitations is involved in this situation, because most of the allegations did occur from roughly 2012 through 2016. However, we don't know yet what the ramifications are going to be. We don't know yet about possible civil suits arising from this. When I mentioned statutes of limitations, I don't know about criminal charges arising, but we haven't heard the end of this story.
Well, it would assume that it's the beginning of it, but once this story arrived as Deshaun Watson, the intensity was fierce and immediate, and then only grew over time. Here, the intensity has not been fierce and immediate, and Justin Tucker, there are a number of reasons for that, right? It can be.
But Dan, I hear you, but also Deshaun Watson signed the biggest contract in NFL history after the allegations against him.
That's right. And he's more famous, but what? And so there's money involved as well. Yes. And
I don't know. I get your point that like we talked about it more because he's a starting quarterback, but like he got suspended 11 games. He also is getting paid like $230 million.
But
so the consequences here are sort of, trade-off.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, you do understand, though. I mean, it doesn't escape anyone's attention, right? Why it is that black people would notice the differences between the intensity of the coverage on the two things. And maybe it's money, or maybe it's a color of a different kind.
I think we should 100% be covering both, and that's why I started this segment by saying, why didn't we talk about this on Friday?
Uh-huh.
I think what we've mentioned is absolutely true. It's black and white, it's quarterback and place kicker, and I think a lot of people are also very wrongly downplaying Justin Tucker because it did happen 8-10 years ago. I don't think that's accurate.
Wait, what's the point of that, though? Like, what is the distinction that we're making there between, what's the statute of limit? I don't think there's a statute of limitations on some of this stuff.
Right. I'm not forgiving it. I'm trying to explain it a little bit. I think if all of these allegations were current and had happened in the past few months, there would naturally be more.
I don't think that's
That's not right,
difference.
Greg. It's not right, but
Let me stop you and just ask you
you
to
don't
think
agree with
about
that?
this. No, because half of the allegations from the Me Too movement and what they did in New York, which was opening up the right for women to say, hey, this happened to me 20 years ago. We're going to toll the statute of limitations and make this year open for you to allege and get some sort of, if you can, some sort of payback for what happened to you way back in the day.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter when it occurred. And often the rule of statute of limitations is 5 years from discovery of an act.
Okay.
When you remember an abuse,
Right.
then
And
it
also,
starts
there
tolling.
haven't been any civil suits filed in this case. And to David's point, there haven't been any criminal charges yet.
And there may be.
I mean, well, this is, if I recall correctly on how it is that it happened with Deshaun Watson, is that once the whistleblowers come forward, the way that this tends to escalate is there is a rallying cry from an attorney where a number of different women then come forward with the freedom, permission, courage, strength to do the same thing because, if you had to guess here, what are you holding over your ears for, David Sampson? What's happening?
We were just talking back here.
Okay.
I'm sitting back here saying, I just don't know. Do we do this conversation well? I'm asking the question. Maybe that's why it's just if you're going to have this serious conversation, are you moving the conversation? Are we adding to it? It's just, I don't know if we do this well. So, I almost am glad that we don't. And maybe we should be drawing more attention to these things. Maybe that's not a good job by us as well. It's just...
What's the way to do it well?
I don't know.
Don't be scared, Chris.
I think the way to do it well is not to start the segment with people aren't talking about this when you didn't talk about it on Friday. That would not be how I would have started the conversation. I would start the conversation with, here is another athlete that's been accused of doing something terrible, and why are we constantly in the position where women are being allegedly taken advantage of in these situations, and why does our society allow this to continue to happen?
I was saying in general more.
That would have been a good way to do it.
I don't mean us. I'm not talking about specifically this show. I mean in general. Does anyone talk about this well?
That would have been a good way to do it.